Hello, everybody. Just want to check real quick and make sure I actually set this time correctly. How are you guys doing today in the meantime, though? Thank you. Appreciate that. I forgot I had this tab. Yikes. I am Rod the Rod, sometimes great, oftentimes mediocre, but always me, as we should all aspire to be. Well, you should aspire to be you. Don't aspire to be me. That'd be kind of weird and likely incredibly difficult. Let me just post this link. We are live of Whetstone Friday. All right, cool. You are very welcome. I will cancel any and all important things in my life to review you guys' copy. Not wrong. Hello, Rashida. It's a quick question while everyone's filtering in. How do you guys feel about these Friday streams versus Wednesdays? I know for me, they're a lot easier to make just because Fridays seem to be a lot slower, but if this is actually more convenient for some of you on weeks where I'm doing it, I can try to schedule around doing it on Wednesday, or sorry, on Friday instead of doing it on Wednesday. If that's better. Either I will take suggestions for this. If you guys have better names that can beat Funky Friday, that's cool. Finicky Fridays, Fastidious Fridays. Yeah, this is also true. I know for me, it's more fun when people are actually showing up in the chat, commenting, and legit me around. So I like when you guys show up, but yeah, obviously a lot of people watch the replay, so it's not a big deal. And also, welcome, Sierra. Thanks for joining us, and yeah. Freaky Friday is also fantastic. I feel like the brand associations with that, though, are not the best. One, we have 90s teen bop movies, and then two, we have all the Disney stuff going on. So I think it's gonna take a second to reset the freaky brand association. Ferocious Friday is also great. All right, let's see. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 submissions for today. So let's just get into it. Hello, everybody. Everybody, hello. Welcome to yet another edition of Whetstone Fridays, not Wednesdays, it's Friday. And today I'm going to be reviewing copy from our lovely Patreon members. This is just a time that we set aside, usually once a week to go through submissions from our Patreon subscribers and just kind of, kick it with you guys, answer Q&A, have fun, crack jokes, laugh about how life short is, or how short life is, all that good stuff. If you want your copy to be submitted, you can do that by joining Patreon at patreon.com/thecopythatshow. And you also get a bunch of bonuses like all of our backlog of videos, free masterclasses, special Discord channels, most importantly, a lovely Discord name color. But if you don't want that, that's completely fine too. Happy to answer any questions regardless of whether or not you're paying us. Is free value. And yeah, feel free to ask questions, crack jokes in chat. Let's have some fun. Lakshi asks, how are those headphones? I'm thinking about buying them. People said they have fake reviews. They're pretty good. They're what's this brand? Soundcore something. They're like $80 or so. They're not particularly expensive. Pretty good quality. My last pair lasted like maybe a year and a half, so it worked pretty well. And then I only took it once because I actually physically broke them, accidentally, not out of anger. Yeah, I think it's like the sub brand or something, but yeah. Oops, this one. Cool. So let's get into it. Let me pull up this channel so I can see who submitted what. All right, so our first submission is from the lovely Mercy, who says that this is copy for a local mom and pop owned and operated hair salon. They mostly speak another language, but can speak and understand basic English. This is the homepage for the first website and Google Business subscription copy. And the tone of voice she's going for is modest, cozy, warm, friendly, authentic, nostalgic. So wants notes on that. Google content's lovely. I love this. So cool. So let's just get into it. Let me zoom out a little bit so you can see the design. Cool. Hair salon name. From experienced Korean hairstylist. Option 1. I see these are options. You're not going to go with all these. So 3 options. So first, impressing your loved one with your hair has never been easier. 2, always single, never in a relationship. Time for a hairstyle change. 3, don't like the cold looks from a big hair salon. Come to our mom and pop hair salon. You'll always feel welcome here. Without feeling like another name on the long list. A family-owned and operated, small yet cozy hair salon that invites you to join our family with a big heart since 2005. Call us to book your session today. Phone number, and then presumably a link. That gets followed by testimonials. To answer your question, usually you just want one big, impactful testimonial here. I have seen people have this sort of scrolling, side-to-side testimonials, but I think at this point you just want one really big or one really, really high quality testimonial that speaks exactly to the pain point you're trying to address with your angle here. And I'll talk about kind of how you're framing it in a second, but I just want to go through the setup here first. Yo, Encore Fridays is fire. Thank you. Maybe that's when we've done a Whetstone Wednesday stream and then there's a bonus stream on Friday. But that's actually excellent. Thank you, Sarah. So our services, confidence boosting haircuts, perfect for all genders and ages, awe-inspiring hair styling, special occasion styling, how we work, call us to book an appointment, professional stylist works their magic on your hair, we wash your hair, leave with confidence. Google reviews, where we are, contact, hours, location, great. As a small mom and pop business, we want to see you become part of our family and want to make you smile whenever you look into the mirror. We want to provide everyone with special care, which is why we may not have time to book hundreds of people in one day. Please call us to book an appointment today and see if any spots are available. Frequently asked questions. Great. Okay, so let's stop there and just go through this, and then we'll get to your review. So it feels like the angle you're going for is this like get a haircut so that part of your life that has been neglected or that you're looking for improvement in gets better. So, impressing somebody, you want a relationship, and then you kind of have this second vertical that's like big hair salon as like big industry feels cold in the first place. I don't know your client and I don't know the context of their business, and so I can't comment on which is right for them specifically. However, I think with these first two ones, it feels a little bit too on the nose. I think most people are sophisticated enough to know that a new haircut is not going to directly lead to them getting a partner, for example, or impressing a loved one. Maybe if you have like an overwhelming mom or aunt or grandmother who's like, "Oh my God, your hair's so ugly," that might impress them. But I imagine the target audience is not looking for that kind of validation. So I think you need to kind of it's a little bit of a step process. So one's like get the haircut. Two is experience sort of like vague benefits that then translate into like much more obvious clear benefits. So it's like get a haircut, have more confidence, look good, feel good, which then sets you up to get the partner, impress the family member, have that aura about you that makes people go, "Did you change something about you?" That kind of thing. So I would look to be a little bit less direct here, because also like I think you're pressing that pain button a little bit too much. You don't need to be like you're reminding the reader, oh, you have that person you want to impress, when what you're trying to sell is a haircut that's not going to remedy the insecurity, anxiety they have about the role of that person in their life or the absence of that partner in their life. So you're kind of over promising in a way, if that makes sense, if that's easier to understand that way. So just back off a little bit, promise like the sort of inner benefits. And then I don't know about, the big salon vibe or how that angle functions for people. I would imagine that people's graduate salons tend to be less about the industry and more about like specific things. So my hairdresser never shows up on time. They don't know how to treat or style my hair. So let's say like you have like thicker hair or you have really curly hair or whatever. You might not feel like you can walk into any salon and have that hair treated. I feel like it would land a little bit more in that angle. So either like, can you do my hair, professionalism, like ease of access, how frictionless is the process, that sort of stuff. Not like the cold looks. Luckily, you can use this mom and pop hair salon angle and lean into that and say, well, because we're this small thing, we have a really intimate relationship with our customers and we know them better and we have style a lot. We can handle anyone's kind of hair because we treat everyone like family and we go above and beyond for family, blah, 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 blah. Make sure it's believable, but I think that you can still use that. So yeah, I think those are doable, but you know the context of this better than me, so I would trust you to think that through. The other thing is, if these are Korean hairstylists, I would go back to look at what their audience is, because if their audience is mostly Korean people, then I think you can run at that a little bit more. And so, is there something about Korean hair that might not be as intuitive to deal with, or might be harder to style? Similarly, are there specific styles or types of treatments that this audience is looking for that other people might not serve or might be a lower priority for them? And so, if you can call out, I don't know, hey, do you want the newest K-pop hairstyle? That is a stereotype, I'm sorry, but just as an example. We know all this stuff because we keep up. We're from your culture, we're from your community, blah, 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 blah. That is something you can lean into that gives you value with the customer. Yeah, I think this is also another thing. If you have to say your mom and pop shop, over and over and over, I think it feels less and less like it is one. With that said, there are things that you can signal. You can say to signal that. And so talking about, is it just a woman? Is it a husband and wife? You could say, me and my husband opened the store in blah, 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 to serve this community, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Like, you can say it without literally saying it. Yeah. And I think this is a good point too. We want to provide everyone with special care, which is why we may not have time to book hundreds of people in one day. I would rephrase this a little bit, just because hundreds of people is obviously ridiculous if it's a small store. But I'd say, which is why appointments may be limited, or the number of appointments and our daily number of appointments may be limited. You could say we have less numbers without being hyperbolic about it. If the tone is warm, comforting, humble is another word that comes to mind, then you can say that and you can use that admission and still feel authentic. One thing for your homepage, at every page, is make sure you have like a banner up top, like a header sort of thing. If they have a logo, you can have the logo, but also just like the easy contact info, the book now or CTA, whatever that is, similar to what you have here. And yeah, for your fact here, I would also if you can lean into like some of those like styling questions too, maybe. Can you treat X kind of hair? Do you do Y sort of treatment? So do you do coloring? Do you do extensions? Blah, 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 blah. Whatever it is. And that may be an area where you can go to your client and ask, what are common things that people come in and ask for? Or what do you do? What sorts of treatments or styling do you do that you feel like your competitors don't do? That's a great way to get that authentic stuff. And then it's answering something that their audience is already interested in. Cool. Yeah, sorry. I didn't know. The title is everybody laughed at me when I started to write this copy. Or when they write the copy, they laugh even harder, which is a great reference. And sorry, I missed this earlier. What were you referring to here? Or rather, I can speak to this just generally. Easy is easy. Let me back up. So one framework that people use to evaluate how good copy is, or how smooth it is, or just evaluate copy generally, is NESB, made popular by Kyle Milligan, which is new, easy, safe, and big. And so these are four sort of pillars that you can touch on, or that you can use in combination with one another to make your copy bigger, punchier, more interesting, more irresistible, you might say. Easy is, how accessible is the offer? What's the distance from me reading this thing to me getting this benefit? And so if it feels like something is really easy to capitalize on, it's going to be more interesting than, hey, you have to wake up at 4 a.m. for the next 700 days to reap this benefit. So we should make our copy feel like it will deliver its promise easily. With that said, easy is not always good. For example, if something is really, really easy, but it's a secret, then it may feel like, oh shit, everyone's going to know about this in 5 minutes. Now, is it really that special? Will it really deliver the promise that I'm saying it's going to deliver? So it might actually make it less believable if it's so super easy. Kyle might argue a little bit on that definition of easy, but I think that is a sort of balance that you do have to strike, particularly in this shorter form copy where you don't have the time to elaborate and talk about why the thing might be easy, but it's still not accessible to the people outside of who's reading the copy. But yeah, so it's all in balance. These are all things you constantly have to weigh against one another. just because something is new, easy, safe, or big, doesn't automatically mean it's good. And then just to quickly look at this. This is a Google description. Not sure if it matters or has any impacts. It's not many people look at this. So here's an example. If you guys know what she's talking about, it's like when you can't see that. When you Google a restaurant or something, this will come up, and they'll have the reviews here with the stars. People also search for similar locations, Q&A, and then a description of the business. I don't know how important these are in 2024. However, as someone who does use like Google search to look up businesses fairly often, I might glance at them. And so I think it's more important to have them be accurate and give me the salient information I might be looking for, which is to say, what do you do? What services do you provide? What is the kind of person that you are looking to serve? Than it is to have super like glossed up, fancy, persuasive copy. When people are searching for your business in Google, that those people have relatively high intent, is what we say. They are looking to purchase the thing. They are more aware. And so for that type of person, you don't need to sell them on the idea of purchasing the service. You need to give them the information they need to know to say that, yes, this business is the right place to buy the service from. So if this is a hair salon, knowing that you can deal with my hair, knowing that you do hair, you do the colorings, you do whatever, that's the kind of thing you want to provide. Clarity, clarity, clarity. So the best cute little mom and pop hair salon since XXX, located on XXX. So date, located at, location. Unlike big hair salons, we prioritize genuine and personalized care, making you feel like a part of our family member with skill. Whether it's a simple haircut or a detailed perm, you're sure to walk out with newfound confidence. Yeah, and then also we provide friendly personal service if the chain simply can't match, gentle, careful handling of your hair, no yanking, the latest high quality products. Call us at XXX to book an appointment scan. Yeah, this isn't landing for me, and I think it's just because of what I just said. I don't think that big hair salons is like people not feeling like a family member when they're going to the salon is the biggest gripe that people have, or the biggest pain point. It's probably something else, and so I would just do a little bit more thinking about what that might be or what that could be in the context of this business, and then go from there, or just go with clarity. Hey, the best cute little mom and pop hair salon since 2005, located at 123 Elm Street. We provide perms, straightening, colorings, XYZ, ABC, blah, 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 blah. Whether it's a simple haircut or a detailed perm, you're sure to walk out with newfound confidence. And then for the we provide, it's, you could say friendly personal service. I would mix this part. You could say gentle handling of the hair, but then also more specifics about what are like the literal services. Like think about if you wanted to get your hair colored, so you Google hair coloring, whatever city you're in, and this place comes up, and you're scanning the right side of the screen, and that thing doesn't say what they do, or that business doesn't say what they do. Are you going to click, or are you going to like just scroll into the next option? That's what you're trying to do. Yeah. So next, Christy is still writing. So I will, you can take a couple extra minutes. I'll just go to the next one and come back to you after. Love that. So this next one is from, is this the right person? This is from Mario 1998. Did I skip somebody? Oh, okay. I think you added this after. Okay, cool. So we'll move this over here. So this is a dog training thing from Mario. Context is this is an email list for a relatively low-priced dog training program. It takes the prospect to a sales page where everything is explained in depth. The reader is someone who's tired of his dog not responding when you call or when they call. And so this person signed up to the list and is frequently receiving dog-related content. Subject line: my dog always comes back when I call. The preview text is discover how a forgotten ancient technique makes it possible. I think these two things don't align because this is not like a crazy surprising claim. Plenty of people's dogs come when they call, consistently even. And so I don't think that people are going to buy that you need a forgotten ancient technique to make it possible because they already know it's possible. They see it's possible. And is your forgotten ancient technique just the art of communication? If you want to do something like this needs to be a much more extraordinary claim or much more veiled or something, because these things just don't match with each other. I would also say, though, that do you really need a forgotten ancient technique to sell a dog training program, particularly if it's low price? Probably not. It's probably just some basic stuff that's the equivalent of what you can find on YouTube. So if this is going to be a grounded claim that just speaks very directly to a desire that your audience has, that's perfectly fine, and probably for the best. Clarity is a much more powerful seller than I think we give it credit for. And so if you're just very clear about that, then this can be simple, can be believable. It's just not this. It can even be something like if you want to keep a secret thing. My dog always comes back when I call. The simple unintuitive trick that made all the difference. It's still teasing. There's this trick. It's unintuitive. You don't know what it is. It's just not a forgotten ancient technique, Yeah, and I think this is also this is a good point about the headline, the subject line specifically, where it's is anyone really gonna be surprised by that? Who is gonna react to that beyond, oh well, good for you, And so when we're doing subject lines, I think more generally, you do want to maybe even touch on the 4 U's, where it's it's not even that. I think just to back up and just not talking copy speak for a moment. Your headline is fundamentally about grabbing attention, and so you need to say something that someone's going to look at and be like, "Oh," or "Holy shit," or "What the fuck." My dog always comes back when I call is not that. And so, what is a thing that you could say to someone that might make them react in a way beyond just skipping past it? It could be something like, you are the reason your dog doesn't come when you call. Be really direct, be a little bit disruptive. Do place the blame on them in an industry where people are like, oh, it's not your fault. It's just this one thing, Being able to do that well, obviously, is not always easy. But, secret, that's why people pay you to do this, is because it's not easy. But if you take a look at what your competitors are doing, it's not that hard to kind of map out, okay, well, everyone else is here, 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 here. So how do I say something that puts me here, that makes me look different, is what I would say. So body text. I'm so tired of screaming my dog's name only to be ignored every single time. If that sounds familiar, I have good news for you. We've just uncovered an ancient recall cue that works like clockwork for dogs of any breed or age. The funny thing is, It's not even a cue per se, a word or a weird sound. It's much simpler than that. And because it's so simple and counterintuitive, I see it rarely discussed anywhere. I rarely see it discussed anywhere, especially in a way dog owners can easily understand and apply. It's the only recall technique that drives dogs back to their owner by using one of their strongest, most innate, and irresistible instincts. The ancient Romans have used this foolproof technique centuries back to train their dogs for military purposes. And it's the same technique the FBI, CIA, and US military use today to train their dogs for critical operations. Want to learn more about this overlooked but effective technique so you'll never be ignored by your dog again? Click here. For their best health, Guru. Yeah, okay. So this is actually like an interesting email, and your subject line does not do service to what you're actually trying to do down here. I think that this is a good example of why doing the RIOA exercise is really, really good when you're setting up your copy, both for yourself and so that whoever's reading it or critiquing your copy can understand. So basically, RIOA stands for, RIOA is an acronym. It stands for reader, idea, offer, and action. And so basically, every piece of copyright should have one of these in mind, or sorry, not one of these in mind, should be touching on all of these, but just for one thing. So you have one reader, one idea, one offer, one action. Now, obviously, in a lift like this, you're not going to really go into the offer because you're just driving. But the action then is click the link to find out what the secret is. And then it sounds like you have an idea. And that idea is something like, there is, and I guess there's a couple different ways to frame it. And there's one here that seems really interesting to me, but I don't know if you see it. But the way I would frame this idea in the most interesting fashion is, there is a secret, foolproof method for retrieving your dog that badass people like the Romans, FBI, CIA, and military all use. Like this is the cool thing. Like everyone has a secret. Everyone has whatever, blah blah blah. The thing that gives your copy color here and texture is touching on the stuff like the Romans, saying, hey, these guys are still doing it. It's worked from badass here thousands of years ago to badasses today. Okay, cool. Now, where does that land us with the reader? Because I think the audience for most, I think the audience for most dog training stuff, I feel like, and I have no info on this, but to me feels like it skews probably female, probably a little bit older, probably a little bit softer in tone, like, hey, we want to help you help the animal you love. It's your fur baby, yada, 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 yada. But what if we weren't talking to them? What if there is an entire market of people who have dogs, who don't want to be cuddled, who don't want to lean into all this fuzzy, warm, soft feelings, even though they love their dog? And what if that audience is like, 30s blue collar men? Okay, well now we can start to think about that person. And this setup you have here, this idea appeals to this person, probably. But if you don't know that you're talking to this person, I think it's really hard to know that this idea is actually something worth running with. So when you set out to write your copy, you need to know, okay, well, first, who the hell am I talking to? Because if you know it's this guy, then you know that the important part of this one idea is not the foolproof method for retrieving a dog. It's that all these badass people use this method, so you can trust it, you know? And so then, okay, well, what does that landing page look like? Yeah, sure, it's talking about, the nature of dogs and instincts and all of that stuff, but it's also leaning into, and here are the people who realize that they could use this, um, and do badass stuff with their badass dogs with this badass method, right? And so you then, the offer is buy this shit so you can be a badass like them, right? It starts to write itself. Um, just catch up with comments real quick. See, Rod, do you think while writing copy we should think about how the Nesby emotions correlate into each other? I mean, it's something to keep in mind. I will say, and I think we say a lot on this channel, that like there's no one framework or idea system or tool or mechanic that is like literally correct. If you feel that Nesby or thinking about Nesby helps you write copy that is interesting and good and worthwhile, then like absolutely. And being able to play off those emotions, okay, well, what's like new and big? How do those things combine? That comes a lot in tech, for example. If that helps you as a writer, then absolutely use that. It's a fantastic tool. If it doesn't help you, or it confuses you, or you find that like you're just trying to write in one direction and you're like, oh shit, I'm not doing safe. How do I do that? And that messes up your copy. Then don't use it. It's the tools are only as useful as the value that they provide to you. Should Reel always have one thing, or can have more in some aspects? To keep it simple, yes, it is one thing. You get one reader. You get one idea. You get one offer. You get one action. But particularly, like, so for example, when it comes to actions, like you only want one CTA. You don't want to have an email. Okay, now click here to go to our Patreon page, and here's YouTube, and here's whatever. These should be different emails because the appeals you're going to want to make to people to go do these different things are going to be different. And so if you're crossing wires, it's going to get jumbled, it's going to get messy, it's going to confuse people. And when people get confused, they don't do what you want them to do. Similarly for readers, or readers and ideas and all that stuff, if you're trying to do multiple things at the same time, you lose that clarity of messaging and you risk putting information in front of somebody that's not relevant. And the more irrelevant things that people read or feel like they're reading, the more likely they are to click off. So having that really dialed in sense of what you're trying to do and who you're trying to do it for is the best way of ensuring that what you're writing is strong. Now, are all ideas or readers so simple that you could summarize them in one line? Of course not. So sometimes that might mean that within an idea, there are a couple pillars or beats that you need to hit to be compelling. That is fine. Keep that in mind. Maybe that means that if your idea is really complicated, you break it up a little bit and over the course of an email sequence or over the course of a sales letter, you are walking someone through it. But all of those things, you need to have a really clear, concrete idea of what they're chairing up into so that you are able to do the work to keep things coherent. Yeah. Yeah. So yes, fur babies. I do think that this is a thing. Just generally, like we take audiences for granted in the sense that we often think, oh, this is the audience for this product, and we don't think about, well, who else can we sell this to? I think Alex has a good example of this with like, what was it, gluten-free snacks maybe, or maybe he started working with a snack company that were selling something that happened to be gluten-free, and they were just marketing it as like regular snacks, and they were having a hard time making inroads with their audience or with into the market. And Alex was like, well, what if we just framed it as a gluten-free snack? And all of a sudden, you get all these people really enthusiastic about it because they're like, oh shit, there are so few brands in this space appealing to us, and this product is pretty good. We want to champion this. And so just, it's not enough to look at the existing audience and say, well, this is it. It is being able to say, okay, well, this is who we're talking to now, or who's currently buying the product. What other people exist? Because that opens up cool opportunities. And like brands like this, like if you had a badass dog brand, like there's so many people who would want to buy something like that. And helping your clients see that and kind of work through that process, I think is a really valuable thing that we can do as copywriters and marketers. And I think that like this happens. It's not a big deal, like particularly if you're doing something like you're doing spec work, or you're just kind of like practicing copy. There isn't a real audience in front of you, and so you can write for anyone, which is very much harder than having to write for one specific audience. And so, it's fine. You're good. Mr. Mateo. If you want your copy reviewed, you can sign up to, where is it? Click always moves. Patreon.com/copy that show. And there's a channel in our Discord server that you can submit a copy to. All rates. And yeah, so otherwise, good job on this. I think you have an interesting idea here. It's just a matter of like really focusing in on it, and then once you have the good copy, do it justice by giving it a good headline. Because if the headline doesn't get people in, no one will get to experience this. One thing that helps is write your subject line last, because often what happens is you start off and it's like the subject line is short, it's easy to come up with, and so you write the subject line, and then you start writing the email, and then you spend all your time buffing up, revising, reshaping your email, and then you go back and your subject line's like doesn't really make sense. If you write the subject line last, you'll have a much higher hit rate of like these two things are coherent and they make sense. Or write it first and just go back and check the hell out of it. All right, next. I think he's out of this now. So this next one is from Chris G. His context is a PPC landing page for a home health agency. I researched my client's competition and looked at their low-star reviews. His competitors are corporations, so their customer services are overlooking the patients. Sometimes the patient requested physical therapy but didn't get one until 3 weeks later. Frustrated and ignored, they would have seen a physical therapist from another agency by then. So for an idea, that client is a small business and doesn't get that corporation feel. They'll be talking directly with the owner instead of talking to a team of customer services. I know PPC ads tend to be solution aware, straight up benefits, so I try to bring back their pain points so they're eager to click on my CTA while they're looking at other landing pages. This is fantastic context. This makes a ton of sense to me. Thank you for, one, doing competitor research. That is so important and is a cheat code to writing good copy. It seems like you have a good idea of where they're failing and kind of where you can step in and why your client's business makes sense to be the one to do that. So I'm excited to see what you come up with. So this looks like a landing page. So, okay. So Greater Los Angeles, I'd say make sure it's keyed in on what the service is. Email us, phone number, CTA is at the top of the page. Excellent, we love it. Sorry. Short answer is yes. Long answer is Yes, and sometimes that doesn't happen. Basically, like you might have different segments in your. It's, it depends on how you set up your list. So most businesses probably have like a general marketing list. Um, those people are just getting emails as the business sends them out. You will also break your email list down into segments based on actions they've taken. So have they bought a product? Have they attended an event? X, Y, Z. You may send out different messages to those people in addition to the regular marketing emails that they get. So for example, if you purchased our everything marketer program, those people get some stuff that we don't send out to everyone. It's like, hey, here's an upsell, here's some bonus stuff, here's something else you might be interested in. I think for most businesses, the segmentation occurs around like product or like action things, not necessarily like men versus women versus other demographic info. Definitely, the best way to learn how to write copy fast is to read copy, not read books about copy, and then write copy. I think books are helpful for understanding the conceptual frameworks and kind of how marketing works and stuff like that, which is incredibly important. But when it comes to actually producing your own copy, the best thing you can do is read and write. So read good copy that other people are writing, particularly in whatever niche you're interested in, and then go write your own copy. Okay, so back to critique. So providing you in-home physical therapy in 24 to 48 hours without being on the wait list to receive care. With our agency, you'll speak directly with our clinical director, Dr. Harvey. Instead of being passed from one customer service to the next, you'll talk to the person in charge, receive health insurance eligibility in 30 minutes. You can start physical therapy in 24 to 48 hours after doctor's approval. Book your free consultation button. Testimonials. Oops. This is fantastic. I think this, again, speaks just the power of clarity. There is nothing new or revolutionary here. You are just saying that the people can get exactly what they want in a very clear, direct way. I don't know enough about this specific industry to know if there are other pain points that you're missing or that would be good to tack on here, but all of these things make sense within the larger context of what you're saying that you want to be addressing. So, good. So the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services has recognized our agency, Home Health Los Angeles City. This is like one sentence, so as one of the top-rated in-home physical therapy providers in Los Angeles. Their positive feedback was based on all this stuff, so they arrive on time. I would generalize this maybe a little bit to like patients, quick improvements, or quick fast recoveries generally in case there's other stuff. Fewer emergency room visits, safely bathing. Yeah, the genre of all this stuff is right. Don't need the word meanwhile. Just make a suggestion. Say families across this area have expressed their satisfaction with their team. Cool. I think this part where you're like kind of using these well-known agencies as like proof points to like be like, oh yeah, we're credentialed basically, is fantastic. And so this little turn here from like, hey, thing you know has recognized this as great, and not just great, one of the top-rated providers in your area, into here are the things we do to help you, is like very, very smart. And this is good. This feels like it might be like another section. Almost because it feels like this part just kind of ends, is buttoned up really well. I don't know if you even need this. Because like the angle you lead with is like, hey, just very direct, no wait, what you want, whatever. Here's the people who say we can provide this. They gave us a 5-star rating. That like the logic works. Then you're starting to add in this like, okay, no missed calls, unanswered requests. You're starting to get into that emotional territory, which is fine, but in the context of what you've already written, feels like it's complicating a very simple and clear message. So insurance is sweet. Says accept. Clear steps. We love this. Cool. Proof points. I feel like I don't see this sort of comparative thing as much in the medical area. I feel like because you've said this stuff a bunch already, you could probably just cut this section. What would be really interested in seeing is take your really clean version of this, where it's just very direct. Hey, you're not getting the thing, get the thing fast, easy, simple, whatever. Do another version where you lean into the emotional side of this and just kind of put them side by side. It would be cool if this is like a real fun to test them. My intuition is that the clarity wins out here, because if someone is looking for these services, they're looking with high intent. No one Googles home health physical therapy because they're not interested in home health physical therapy, or no one's looking for a replacement to the retirement home services they have because they don't need them, right? So you don't have to sell someone on why it's so hard being themselves. They already know, they just want a solution. And so presenting the solution in this very direct, clear way and saying, hey, I acknowledge this stuff, feels like a no-brainer, easy sell to me. Maybe there's a version of this that's like to people who aren't quite at that step yet, who are perhaps problem aware but not solution aware. And so, who is that? It's like you have a loved one in a retirement home or assisted living facility, and they get hurt every once in a while, but it hasn't happened often enough where they're like, oh, yes, this needs to happen now, right? Maybe you can write a version of this for that person and be like, hey, here's why the status quo is not okay. And you don't want to have to risk what will happen the next time. And you're living with anxiety, you're living with fear, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, I would test that. Hold please 1 moment. Yeah, this is cool. But yeah, but otherwise, great. I think you're doing some good stuff here. Just keep it simple, keep it clear, and keep it moving. Cool. So the next one is from Ajiba64. This is, have we seen this one before? Yeah, we've seen this one before. The man behind over 100,000 body transformations is now revealing the forgotten RRC method that guarantees almost anyone to gain 5 pounds of muscle in just 90 days. That has already helped over 100,000 lives achieve the body of their dreams. Just immediately, you repeat these two things. Repeat. So I think this top one is stronger. So say something else here. Even if all you have are some bands, a pair of rusty old dumbbells, or even no workout equipment at all, the RRC method adapts to whatever you have. Here's an easy month transformation. Imagine method training that makes working out fun, makes working out for getting rid of fun. You won't need to worry about your work ethic or discipline. Builds muscle easier. Oh, okay, I see. A lack of time won't be an excuse no more. You'll have expert secrets. One thing I'm picking up here and there, just like these very small grammatical things. So you will need to worry about your work ethic or discipline as much with the RRC method than without. It should be than without, but honestly, you could just delete this. The lack of time won't be an excuse no more is grammatically incorrect, but depending on target audience, depending on who is doing the speaking here, we can have a conversation about like American English dialects and language normativity, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I know exactly what you mean. Be aware though that if you are speaking to an audience of like incredibly educated white people, that this will read as awkward. If you are speaking more so to Black people, this will not be a problem. So just be aware of who your audience is when you are writing. Secrets. Okay. My name is Shuaib Islam, otherwise known as Rip Wright. That's me in that picture above. And yes, I am 39 years old. I've been creating programs since 2018, which has already easily changed the lives of 100,000 men and women. Over the years, I've been refining a method that anybody can use that will easily get them ripped, that will ensure that you keep your progress for as long as you think you can. If you read on, I'll tell you exactly what this method is about. There's an obstacle most people won't tell you about, which is training as a lone wolf. Here's why this should matter to you. This will have you focus on trying to uplift yourself and constantly trying to find motivation, which takes away from putting the actual work in. The RRC method can make the most undisciplined, overweight person that has never worked out a day in his life through this period, turn his life around and become an inspiration for everyone around him. If you continue to try and do everything yourself, you'll end up looking and feeling like this. It's funny. One thing here is when you have these big headlines, they need to be able to read and carry a message on their own. You do a thing very often, which is like you'll start a sentence and you'll continue and then it'll blow up into a headline, or coming off of a headline, you'll have a sentence like a clause build and continue off of it, which doesn't not work. However, it can make for clunky reading at times, especially to people who are not as skilled, fluent readers or used to that kind of writing. So you want to make sure that when you have a big headline like this, that it says the whole thing by itself. So this should be like training as a lone wolf is a path to failure. It's going to leave you out in the cold. It's going to not have a good result. And then again, like there's just these really small things where like if you just delete this period, the sentence becomes fine, but like just here or there. I mean, honestly, just like get like a proofreader or someone to go through it. Let's see, there isn't much working out with the community for this kind of thing. I would jazz this up a little bit. Like if you're gonna say like one side is training as a lone wolf, the other one can't be working out with the community. Make it like, find your pack. It needs to have the same sort of tonal character, flair, jazziness as everything else you're doing. So just on the whole, this is really long, so I can't go through the entire thing, but this is good. you have a core idea, you do a fantastic job like showing, not just telling. Um, yeah, I mean, like this is good. You have all the testimonials. If you, I would love to like hear like if you're here or just in comments or wherever with what you would like help with because this, I would love to give you like very keyed in feedback because this is like great copy already. Um, but it's hard to do that because it's so long and it's already pretty good. So like let me know how we can provide value to you. Um, question is bolding words used too much? I don't think so. Your mileage may vary. You know, your editors might have opinions. Some readers are going to have opinions. To me, bolding is just one tool that we can use to emphasize specific pieces of copy. Let's look at. I feel like everything that I'm seeing is bolded are things that I would feel like should be emphasized or like you could justify emphasizing. So like easily getting ripped. Cool, we like that. Oh, this is the wrong insure, by the way. It's EN, ensure, not like insure with insurance. But like, you know, keep your progress. Most people won't tell you about this. Here's why this should matter. It's pulling your attention back into the copy. And it's particularly important to do this in longer copy, longer text, where it's like, this is probably 50 or something pages of copy. And if someone's reading that, then it's easy to drift. And so having those things that we anchor them is a good practice to have. And no, the guy didn't change skin color. It's just poor lighting. All right, next. This is from the other Sean, one of our favorites. So Avatar is small business owners who are solution aware. Um, they know that there are solutions for their copying content, but not exactly sure what they need and don't know who to hire to write it for them. Contacts. He's been reaching out to them through cold email, header. Okay, so header. I'm your leads, sales, customers, and profits writing machine. Are you struggling with getting more leads, sales, customers, and profits, and you wonder why? I can help you get the leads, sales, customers, and profits you need to make your business thrive. Hi there, I'm Sean Van Zandt. I love to help businesses like yours thrive by generating more leads, sales, customers, and profits through something called persuasive writing, which I'll explain what persuasive writing is and how it can help your company thrive right after this short story. A tale of two companies. I worked for an uncle of mine who had a local music business that gave music lessons, sold guitars, amps, and other musical instruments. I noticed how he struggled to survive as a business owner, relying on only word-of-mouth marketing. Over time, I watched as his world ended as a small business owner, along with other smaller music companies that had to forever shut their doors. All because a music store had opened up here in Tallahassee and took most of their business. That music store grew amazingly through persuasive writing and marketing. Persuasive writing is the secret sauce behind most company successes. So, what is persuasive writing? It's writing that uses sales psychology that makes your prospect buy your company's products or services. Through emails, e-newsletters, blog posts, website copy, social media posts, and with just about any other types of writing you can think of. I was trained and certified to write like this and market through the world's best writing and marketing training companies. AWAI. Since getting trained and certified through AWAI, I've been able to increase my company's leads for hiring by 4x through simply rewriting one of their emails. I also help transform a local business's website. It should be single. A local business's website as a website content detective through using a 21-point checklist along with some design and usability suggestions I made. After she implemented my suggestions, she was able to 3x the amount of leads she was getting before using my recommendations. So, if you're challenged with getting more leads, sales, customers, or profits, then give me a call, email me, or use my contact form today. Okay. I feel like this needs to be longer to do all the things that you're trying to do. It could also be shorter though. Let's see. So just I guess the first note is like be mindful of like repetition of language, particularly like really close together. So like here you say your header is lead, sales, customer, profits. Then the first thing you say is lead, sales, customer, profits. And then you say lead, sales, customer, profits. It feels like you're just saying the same thing 3 times in a row because you are. You can just reduce that to 1, I guess, is one option for that. You can say it later, you can rewrite it. When you repeat in that way, it feels like you're not really adding more, and so it increases that sort of like friction as a leader. So it feels like what you're trying to do is you go in, you say, hey, do you have this problem? Well, I can help. This is me. This is what I do. And let me tell a story to demonstrate why the thing that I do is so important. And then here's some credibility, and then CTA. Think if you're going to do this. This needs to be structured a little bit differently and just longer. Because people are coming here through cold outreach. So it's like you send someone an email, you're like, hey, go to my website. They get here, you're like, hey, do you have this problem? This is me. First things first, the phrase persuasive writing I would change just because it feels so normal these days. You don't have to call it copywriting, but it should be something that is accessible to people, as in like people will know what you're talking about, but it also needs to sound different enough from the things they're already paying people enough to do, or paying people to do, that they feel like it's worth hiring you. Whether that's like a messaging expert or a storytelling copywriter or whatever, it does need to be anchored to something that people are like, oh yeah, that's a thing that a business pays somebody to do. Persuasive writing is just like a very general tool or skill that people use across all sorts of different industries, and so it's not as intuitive. Why should I hire a persuasive writer for my business? Then for the companies, for the story, I think the story is kind of weak. It's like you work for your uncle, and then it's hard because only word of mouth marketing. Like I think if you say like, you know, I think you should approach it from like an angle of like stern compassion. Like I started working at my uncle's music shop when I was 18 years old, and I watched over the years as he continued to sell fewer and fewer lessons, guitars, amps, whatever. All because, or maybe it's like this. So it's like I started working for my uncle when I was X years old. He had this little home music shop, and got nearly all of his sales through word of mouth marketing. It was great. We loved it. It was a valuable part of the community, talking about. But over the years, we're introducing the problem. I noticed that sales, lessons, whatever, went down and down and down. All because this other store opened down the street. And as that store grew, my uncle's business shrank until one day he, like many other stores in our community, had to close their doors for good. I was pissed. You know, talk about how it makes you feel. I was pissed, disturbed, devastated. I saw the effect it had on my uncle. I saw the bitterness, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But when I looked but when I took a step back and looked at what had really happened, I realized the thing that had been staring us in the eye the whole time. The other music store wasn't evil. They weren't trying to run us out of town. They weren't actually doing anything underhanded, even though it felt like a cheat code or like they were cheating. They were using the power of persuasive writing, or whatever you want to call it. So what is persuasive writing? It's writing that uses sales psychology in a way that makes audiences naturally want to buy. You know, it could be an email, a newsletter, a poster, a flyer, anything that people can see, and anything that a regular person can see and you know, interact with. So I decided I didn't want to do that. I didn't want what happened to my uncle to ever happen to me in my life. I trained and was certified to write the kind of writing that whatever this company was did. In fact, I got certified by America's biggest, you know, writing whatever certification program, AWAI, and I got good at it. I've been able to increase my company's lead, I've increased my company's leads by hiring by 4x with I've been able to do things like increase a company's leads for hiring by 4x through rewriting a single email. I've also helped transform local businesses using using a full 21-point checklist I developed. Blah 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 blah. And then you have pivot off of that and say, well, you know, that's how I got to where I am now. I pride myself on that because I don't want to see anyone else's dreams, businesses, whatever, go up in flames or, you know, have to die because they just don't know, or they don't have access to, they don't know about how powerful this tool is. So if you are seeing these challenges in your business, whatever, give me a call, email, or use my contact form today. I would love to help you. Bam! We've turned your story into a whole framework to talk about every single thing you need to talk about. Yeah, so that's what I would do. Mr. Google asks, how well does text-only homepage copy work? I saw a few personal homepages like this, and I'm always curious how that works. Yeah, I would suggest against it. You do want some sort of visuals, some sort of basic design. Daniel Throssell, I feel like often has text-only pages, but they're not boring per se. Actually, his are kind of boring, but the reason you don't want to have these text-only pages is because it feels like you're just scrolling through a Word doc, which if the user is not super enthusiastic about you already, is going to make it a little bit harder to get through the copy. So having things like this design that frames the page, that's dividing sections, that's doing things to break up the monotony of just black on white text, is very, very helpful. Images, of course, help. Logos, all that pretty stuff help. You don't have to do a ton. A little bit goes a long way. All right, next. So we have a wilderness training sales page. This is from Rochedas, excuse me. Just 1 second. Cool. So context, this is a practice sales page for a wilderness survival course with traffic coming from a YouTube channel that drives to a lead magnet that goes to a nurturing email sequence that goes to a sales page. Also social media ads for tracking. The audience is very aware and would have already prepped for many emergency situations. However, they are conflicted on going one step further to take a wilderness survival training course because many in their prepper community see bugging out the woods as a nonsense move. Okay. Cool. So in addition to your critique, I wanted to know, because I mentioned an official report, I've cited it at the end. Is it appropriate for a sales page to academic? I have the heading for a second version of the sales page at the very end. Which heading do you prefer? Okay. Probably, as far as citing things in these sorts of pages go, I'd say no, don't cite it. And you absolutely want to have that in your back pocket because anything you write like this will be going through a legal team, will be getting vetted. And so you need to know where all your information is coming from. So have it, but don't put it on your page. That means, though, that if you want to leverage the credibility of that report or article or whatever, you need to write it into the copy. So if you are citing a research study from Harvard, don't just say a new study says XYZ. Say breakthrough research from Harvard's medical school says XYZ. Spell it out so that you get the full power of it. So cool. So let's see, how long is this? All right. So I'll read the beginning and probably skim through the rest. So the world's on edge. Are you ready? Get prepared with essential training and all the survival skills you need to preserve yourself and your loved ones if society collapses. Starting out then. You go to the bottom and see your other one. Yeah, I don't see the other one. All right, cool. So start now. I like you have the CT up here as well. It's easy. The world has exploded in recent years. So I guess one thing I'll say out front is that with this type of copy, it is so emotional that this is one of the few times where I will just actually give you line edits just to punch some of this up because if you're going to do this, we need to lean all the way in, kick it up to 11. So instead of saying the world has exploded in recent years, I'd say something like conflict has erupted across the world in recent years. Or if you want to be even more diabolical, say conflict is erupting across the world. Make it like it's happening now, not it's something that has happened. First, it was Russia and Ukraine. Then the gang take over Haiti. Now it's Israel and Palestine, quickly spreading to Lebanon, Iran, and others. Everywhere we look, peace is a fast eroding commodity. And it seems the erosion is spreading like the bubonic plague. It's everything we don't want. What we want is for our kids to grow up in a peaceful society where they're safe, free, free from the worry that the world could erupt at any moment. That's our dream. And it's one we'll fight tooth and nails for. But just in case, shouldn't you be ready? It's an interesting pivot. I mean, first off, like the tone notes you're hitting are excellent. So like props for that. I like the going from all this crazy shit's happening. You don't want it. Appealing to the family, appealing to peaceful society. Saying that's what we really want. I think this probably works. There might be a better way to do this, but this is fine. Shouldn't you be ready? I am ready. I already prepped a huge food supply. If you're reading this, you probably already prepped your home for the unexpected. You've canned foods, MREs, and other long shelf life foods prepped to help you survive a long-term emergency. But did you know that the US government did an extensive study and came to the conclusion that even a small nuclear detonation over the US could set off an EMP event that would collapse society as we know it? Desperate neighbors who didn't prepare would loot all that food you prepped. Your best laid plans would benefit you and your love, or wouldn't benefit you and your loved ones at all. I think this would be better without this header. Because this section is already tackling what this is saying. And in a way, like, it feels kind of, I feel like you get less impact if you have this here. Obviously, you break this up similarly to how you have it here. So it's like, should you be ready? If you're reading this, you've probably already prepared your home. You have all this stuff, and so you think you're safe. You think you're ready. Definitely get rid of the asterisk, like I was saying before. I don't know if I like the EMP line so much. Like, because it feels like you're escalating all the way to nuclear warfare, but you haven't done any of the groundwork to say that that's likely at all. You're talking about all these foreign problems, and so then you're going to, well, if they just dropped a nuke over our country, society would collapse. It's a big jump still. So you have two options basically. One is to, like, up here after this line, it seems like the erosion is spreading like the bubonic plague. Have a line where it's like, sometimes it feels, or it almost feels like it's only a matter of time before the conflict reaches us too. Put that, like, seed that thing so you have that idea of, like, okay, it feels far away, but it's spreading, and it's only a matter of time before it's here. Then when you land on, even a small nuclear detonation, like, I would be a little bit more vague with this, just because that a nuclear detonation feels unlikely. I'd say even a small strike against the U.S. could set off a chain of events that collapse society as we know it. I think doing it that way is good for a number of reasons. One, you don't have to talk about nuclear bombs exploding, so it's more believable. Two, there are actually multiple scenarios in which something like that can happen. So, for example, what if there's an attack against our electrical grid? Similar effects. And so you get to kind of use all of those things. Then this, desperate neighbors, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, that works. You might want to, like, play this up a little bit though. Desperate neighbors. Yeah, okay. And so skimming this next section, these two things, I almost feel like you could combine these three sections and just elaborate a lot more. So it's like, if you're reading this, you've already prepared, you have your food, you have water stored, you have backup generator, but did you know that even a small strike could set off a chain of events that collapse society? You know it. Desperate neighbors who didn't prepare would try to loot the food you prepped. Um, Water would be soon to go. Um, or sorry, it's like the water supply would stop working, and then water would be so water would become the first thing that people look to steal. Blah 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 blah. And there's a build here where it's like you also can acknowledge. So you say all that stuff about power, water, food, strike, and then you can say, and the threats just aren't from other countries. A widespread natural disaster could also easily knock out power, or could easily knock out society. Just ask Florida, North Carolina, New Orleans. Sure, those places might recover at some point, but what happens when the next one strikes soon after, or whatever? Or will your family have what it takes to survive until help comes? You know, I think if you do it that way, it feels like the problem is not just, okay, here's one problem, here's another problem, here's another problem. You've now described one really large, complex problem that getting better at hiding your food or storing your food or figuring out your water situation. None of those things individually are enough to solve the problem. It's too big to do by just sitting in your home. Okay. So that goes to this. So what if I got a second home in a remote spot I can bug out to if shit hits the fan? I have one of those too. The plan for me and my family is that if our house in our big city ever got compromised, we would bug out to the more remote house that we're still in the process of prepping. The only thing is, there are still people around. It's nowhere near as many people as in the city, so the likelihood of us holding our own if our neighbors ever came knocking to man our survival stash is much higher. But we recognize that even then, we could lose it all if we face a particularly ferocious gang of looters. But maybe that's just a suspicious Marine me speaking. I love that transition. I wasn't always hello, I'm Nate, retired Marine and expert survivalist on a mission. I wasn't always into prepping. I had survival skills because it's part of my Marine training, but I wasn't worried about natural disasters, EMP events, or the world collapsing. That changed in New Orleans during Hurricane Katrina, where I was helping rebuild homes. After a morning of work, a few of the other volunteers and I headed out to lunch at a restaurant we frequented. We got there and the blinds were down. The generator that was usually outside was nowhere to be found. Before we could reach the door, a uniformed officer approached. Sorry, folks, this is an active crime scene, so no going in. The guy closest to me gawked at the officer. I asked the cop if the nice restaurant owners who had always been so kind to us were okay. I didn't get an answer. And I wouldn't get one until I got to another tiny diner frequented by locals. The couple who owned the restaurant had indeed been shot during a robbery attempt. But that wasn't all I learned that day. Crime was hurting many of the residents who hadn't been able to evacuate before the streets and communication system failed. I heard stories of burglaries, looting, rape. With FEMA taking too long to get food and aid into the area, people had gotten desperate. After that experience, I realized that if a disaster bigger than Katrina were to hit multiple states at the same time, there would be no safe place to evacuate to, and society could indeed collapse. I immediately began prepping for a potential collapse. I learned bushcraft from experts here in the US, trained in Krav Maga, and even went on a grueling 21-day survivalist simulation with some of my retired Marine buddies. Also, I could teach my wife and kids how to survive away from society if it became necessary. Soon I realized that other people wanted the skills I'd learned. It changed from wanted to needed. I've helped more than 2,000 people learn the important skills they need to survive in the wild if they ever had to bug out. The rest of this looks good. I think you've done the hard part already. Well, most of it. The biggest thing right now to me is that there's kind of a jump, because I think what you're trying to sell is a program that's like how to survive like in the wilderness, not hunkered down, because you're pushing off against like staying in your home, even your second home. So you need to justify how and why somebody could like be out in the wilderness. It's this part. Everything else though is very well written. The story is like fantastic. No notes. Like you could make it longer. You could like kind of put more little tidbits in there to address certain objections or things that people experience if you want. But as it is now, it's quite good. Yeah, I mean this is actually like a great job, fantastic. So I'd build on that part. And let's see, let me skim this real quick. Loved ones. Testimonials, what others have to say. Security, bonuses, love bonuses. The only other thing, in this kind of like offer section, it would be great if you could anchor the price somewhere. Before you get to this $8.97 number. So maybe up here, either in the bonuses or figuring out like whether this is essential or not essential. If you say like XXX value, XXX value, imagine the peace of mind you'll have. And so it's like, this is worth all this stuff. And so I put lots of thought into this slash out $2,000 training into this $8.97 training. That also includes all this other stuff. FAQs, cool, yeah, great job, well done. So, would you say the FAQ style lead like this one works well? Yeah, I don't know. I think going through it at the beginning, I was not a huge fan just because it felt like it broke up the flow. And one of the things you want is to make it really easily, entertainingly, emotionally readable. And so when you break it up, it's like this section. Okay, well, what about this? Okay, well, what about this? It's almost like the FAQ you see at the end. And so if you just tell the whole thing as one story where it's like, okay, you're probably prepped. You probably have this all locked down. You have a backup generator. Great. You think you're safe, but you're not. And here's why. Here's how things get messy and complex. And you think this is going to work? Well, it's not going to work. And this is this. I feel like is a much better way of like having that flow while also still addressing all that same stuff. Next is from Quinn. We have a script of Facebook ads to a landing page. Reader is a senior woman. The idea is this is the ideal or method to reverse aging. The offer is it only takes 3 seconds and costs a few pennies a day. Click the link. So these are Facebook ads. For just a few pennies a day, you won't see sagging skin or wrinkles anymore. I am Mark Rosenberg, a bad cell researcher. I am here to tell you, you can regain your youthful skin without Botox, surgery, med spa, or even collagen. Injecting substances, undergoing surgery, or taking harsh medications is always risky and expensive. Collagen might seem like a great solution, but honestly, it doesn't help at all because our cells age over time, and decay cells are the root cause of aging signs like sagging skin, fine lines, and wrinkles. No matter how much collagen you consume, if decay cells are still present, your aging problems won't go away. The only way to treat your wrinkles is to weed decay cells out of your body. I've spent 5 years researching these decaying cells, and I've discovered a new way for everyone to reverse their aging without breaking the bank. With this simple action, which takes just 3 seconds and costs a few pennies daily, our method will help weed decay cells out of your skin and bring back your 30th skin, your 30-year-old skin. My 5 years of research traded for your few days to see the results. If you follow the instructions properly, you can see the transformation in 14 days. Click the link below so that I can explain to you how you can reverse your age. Okay. This is far too long for a Facebook ad, and it's touching way too many things. So the goal of this ad is not to tell them everything or to tell them the secret. It is to get them to click, which means that you need to first get their attention, build some intrigue, then get the click. All this explaining in here about the process and stuff is not helping that. And if anything, when you explain, you are explaining the secrets, you're explaining the mechanisms, you're making the thing less intriguing, and you're decreasing the curiosity someone has because you're literally telling them the thing without getting the click in return. So what you want to do is like, if you find one thing in here that sounds interesting, bad cell researcher is kind of interesting. Like if you said like your skin will never look young again, will never look good again, will never look whatever again. If you don't remove, or if you don't do anything about your bad cells. Yes, I said bad cells. My name is Mark Rosenberg. I am literally a bad cell researcher. The reason that things like Botox, collagen, whatever, none of that stuff works long term is because they don't get to the root problem of aging skin, bad cells. But there is one thing you can do that takes 3 seconds a day and will cost you pennies. That will get rid of, treat, whatever, your bad cells and give you that 30-year-old skin that you've been longing for. Click the link below to find out more. Bam. Easy. Adam correctly says, with Facebook ads, you're competing with brain rot content, so you need to be concise and snappy. Yes, brain rot content is a good way of saying it. I think with any sort of social media platform, most platforms, like most internet usage, you're competing against literally anything else a person could be doing. So I think even emails now are kind of in that territory where it's like, how is the thing you're writing, the thing you're asking someone to read, keeping their attention over playing their phone games, scrolling through Reels or Snapchat or TikTok or whatever, beating all of like the rage bait on YouTube. If it's not, it's gonna have a hard time winning. Okay, so next we have an email sequence from Kristen, it appears. Not a real fitness program. Also, if I were to put this in my portfolio, would you recommend I create the full welcome sequence? Let's see. It depends. You could do a full sequence. So the way I would think about building your portfolio, if you're starting from nothing, is thinking about like what's the best bang for your buck in terms of time. If you already have some social media ads, couple different kinds of emails, a sales page, all that fun stuff in a place where you feel, pretty okay about it in your portfolio, then yeah, sure, go ahead and build out a whole welcome sequence specific to one program for this. If you don't have those things and you're interested in writing other kinds of copy or other copy opportunities, I'd say, be happy with one pretty good email and then try some other stuff and then revisit this after you've tried that other stuff. You may find that writing sales pages or maybe very targeted landing pages helps your understanding of what email sequence needs to do, or the kind of places that a sequence like this might be driving to, and so you can write these emails better because you have a better understanding. But if you already have that or you feel good about it, then yeah, sure, lean in. Also, if you just find this fun, and this goes for anybody, if you just find that you really like one form of copy, like feel free to lean into it. You don't have to do everything. It's just we tend to encourage people to spread your wings a little bit, try a bunch of different things, because any kind of copy can work, and there's a lot of indirect benefits you get from understanding how different pieces of copy interact with one another. Hold 1 second, please. Okay, cool. So let's get into it. So fitness program. So personal trainers are terrified you'll find out these secrets. Urgent. The rest of your life is waiting. Trying to reach you about your fitness goals. I definitely don't like this last one. This first one is a little generic, but not necessarily bad. I low-key like this one. The rest of your life is waiting. Now, is this the most specific? Maybe not. It might come across as a little markety, but it's funny to me. I chuckled, so I like it. Hey, name. You're 3 miles up a mountain. You're hiking with your best friend, the one who got a Peloton and keeps giving you unsolicited fitness advice. But you're not out of breath. In fact, you're practically bounding like a gazelle. Your friend is the one who keeps needing to take breaks, not you. You're on drugs, right? He says, huffing and puffing. You got those drugs in the movie Limitless? Should you tell him your secret? From his point of view, you don't have time to get in shape. You have a wife, 2 kids, and a 40-hour-a-week job. Also, you don't belong to a gym. In fact, you're on the record as being anti-gym. You say you're anti-Peloton too, but mostly to break his balls. He slips, catches his foot on a rock, twists his ankle. I exercise 20 minutes a day, you tell him, as he leans on you. You help him back down the mountain. Yeah, right, he says. I don't believe you. I'm sticking with my limitless drug theory. At one point, this would have made you angry. You get defensive, puff your chest out, but you say nothing. You honestly don't care if he believes you or not. Because you're not just fit, you're pure fit. Physique of the mind, knowledge of the body. That's the pure fit difference. Once again, should you tell him your secret? Pure fit is an at-home exercise routine using only body weight that trains your mind and body. We know you've got a ton on your plate. Exercise might be the last thing on your mind, except you don't like how you look in the mirror. You don't look the way you did in your 20s. That's just what happens, your wife says, trying to be nice. You're both pretending to forget that her ex is a bodybuilder who still actively competes. Of course, he doesn't have a wife. He doesn't have any kids. We know what you're thinking. I don't have time for this. Not even 20 minutes. Did you know the average person spends 2 hours, 23 minutes per day on social media? That's not even going into how much time you watch TV. What if we told you that once you're pure fit, you won't want to spend that much time on social media and watching TV? In fact, you'll choose exercising over Instagram. Pure Fit isn't just about training your physique and your health. Unlike competing exercise programs, it focuses on the mind. because we believe that the mind-body connection is everything. Motivation, vigor, stamina. Did we get your attention? Sounds too good to be true? Our program is backed by doctors, personal trainers, and psychologists. So, back to the question. Should you tell your friend about PureFit? Then options, yes, I would tell him, and I'm ready to know more about PureFit. No, fuck that guy, but also I want to know more about PureFit. Okay. So second, this is hilarious. Like, not like this is like a funny, blah, blah, blah. This is like the writing here is like hilarious. So like props on that. I think I just like was reading on vibes for most of the time, and so I'm actually having to like think back to what I read, and so that's like a great time. It's like flowed so well. I love the story. Potential call out is the Limitless reference because it's probably fine. I'm thinking like, will your target audience all know the movie? Are they gonna be too old? Are they gonna be too young at this point? But conceptually, it works. Fantastic. We like cultural references. The only thing that was awkward to me is this sort of jump where you go to introduce the PureFit thing. I think it would read a little bit better to me if you go from you honestly don't care if he believes you or not into like this line. You're not just fit, you're pure fit. The thing reads like something that we would do in the brand world. It's corny. It's a little cheesy. Um, it's not bad per se, but it does kind of take you out of the very like authentic, genuine tone of voice you have before, and so I don't like it for that reason. And I think if you go to from like, if you go from this to like this line, you can retool this as like maybe something like, you don't care if he believes you or not. But like one of these days, use italics. You might consider telling him your secret out of pity. Pure fit. Okay. And so then that's your reveal. Then it's pure fit as a home exercise routine, blah, 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 blah. The other thing is that the who you're talking to gets a little bit awkward because you're telling the story about the person and their friend, and you're saying that the person you're talking to does pure fit. And then you switch to, well, we know you've got a ton on your plate, and trying to justify to the reader now that they have time for it. But up until now, we've been talking about, well, you've been doing it. And so that shift feels a little bit awkward. One like easy solve for that would be like make the protagonist in the story like the writer. That loses you some of your authenticity, I think, a little bit, and like letting the reader kind of read into your character. That's one solve. It could be like a random story about two named people. maybe the better thing is like reframe this as like sort of like everyman type thing. And so this then is like actually let's do this. So pure fit. The at-home body exercise routine. It trains your body and mind, your mind and body using body weight. Cool. And then it's like we know, like most guys have a lot on their plates. Exercise is the last thing on their mind. But most guys know they don't look how they, or don't like how they look in the mirror because they don't look the way they did in their 20s. You know, their wives tell them this, but then that. That might be a better way of keeping all this like great color you have up here while still saying all this other stuff because these are tackling good objections. And then this is a hilarious way to set up your CTA. So like props for that. But yeah, like fantastic writing, just generally. I love the angle. And since this is like a spec piece, then you know you have a lot of room to play with it. Yeah. Rion also approves. Yeah, so like fantastic job. Would love to see how you solve this, but you know, please keep the submissions coming because this is a great copy. I think to be like very honest, all of like the tackling objections, like all the very mechanical stuff is like quite easy to learn. But the writing with like flavor, color, humor stuff is very, very hard to teach. And so to me, it looks like you have the hard part down already. So like, you know, keep at this because you can get good at this. All right. This next one is from Rion. So this landing page is part of a funnel I designed for my client. This is a solution-aware recruitment agency owners coming purely from meta ads to book a free discovery call. So these are for owners of recruitment agencies. So research says that these agencies are struggling to find the right people for positions, lots of competition. So they want new, but they also want easy and fast. So idea is 3 to 5 qualified or pre-qualified candidates is 30 days and you don't pay. Okay, the copy. Okay. Calling all recruitment agencies. This brand new system will bring you 3 to 5 interviews with pre-qualified candidates in just 30 days. Easily filter out unimportant applications without wasting hours on screening and sorting. PSL. Book a free discovery call. I love these design notes, by the way. It's funny. Excuse me. Introducing the only system designed to help recruitment agencies. I feel like this is probably not true. You could there's probably someone else designed another system, but maybe there's like a qualifier you can add in there. We understand the constant pressure to fill positions quickly while ensuring quality hires. And it doesn't help when there's thousands of other recruiters trying to reach out to the same candidates. So we developed an automated system that gets you a consistent flow of pre-qualified candidates without you having to lift a single finger. Our most recent example of this was with a recruitment agency based in the Netherlands. We were able to help them scale up to 6 figures in revenue with this exact system. Book a free discovery call. I'm sorry, CTO. Yeah. How it works. We implement a simple 4-step action plan that streamlines your recruitment process, which enables you to fill positions quickly and effectively. Step 1, specialized ad campaigns. More reach, more candidates. So maximize your agency's visibility, grow a larger talent pool, bigger online reputation, which doubles the odds of being qualified candidates. Step 2, find top candidates with our sorting funnel. Completely remove time wasters. Okay. I appreciate what you're doing here, where it's like, here's the literal step, here's the benefit to the step. So automatically filter, more organized, we'll take care of the complicated software. Then nurture candidates with our done for you CRM, pre-qualify and autopilot. Okay. No more time wasted screening and sorting, smoother experience. Close, we schedule for you. See what we did for other agencies, proof. The best part is it only takes 7 days to set the system up in the agency. And in that time frame, you virtually don't have to do a single thing because the service is done for you. Okay. I feel like this is fine. It's very clear. You're saying all the correct things. You're addressing pain points. It's cool. I think maybe the idea could use some buffing up. It doesn't feel very big to me. Is the thing, because you're saying it's like a brand new system, and I don't know what's like different about it. Because I can imagine, like, why can't I do this? Like, why can't some other agency go out and do a specialized ad campaign? Like, what is special about the ad campaign? Is the unique thing like the sorting mechanisms? I guess like I would just want you to like point to like where that aspect of it is. Because there's a couple different ways you can come at it. Maybe it's you're going to get a ton of candidates, right? That's one thing, and then the sorting helps do that. Or maybe you're getting the same amount of candidates, but your sorting mechanism is way more, advanced or whatever than the next guy or gal, and so then you're finding those candidates with better positions. So you're getting more results from the same talent pools other agencies. That's another way to come at it. It sounds like this is a real client, and what I can say with working with clients is that like sometimes you're just in this situation where they're asking for something really unique and something really special, and the thing they have is not really unique, really special, and that's just tough. So I understand the situation you're in. I would go back and like if you can get a conversation, just be like, hey, like I'm working on something. What I want to know, like, why do you think that we're better than any other company, or that we can do a better job, or like, if you were talking to a client, what would you tell them to make them hire us over our main competitor? Those sorts of conversations can sometimes like give you like hints. Like sometimes they'll tell you something really strong. Often they don't. But even when they don't, they'll often give you hints of what they think the thing is. And usually buried in there is some like nugget of truth that you can like, expand on. Sometimes it's stuff like, oh, we work really hard, or we have a better sense of like what agencies really need. And so it could be that there's some variable that you guys use to okay. Well, there's some variable you guys use to like sort through candidates that other places don't use, and that's like the secret to having that all these super strong candidates actually have. And so yada 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 yada. Like you could do that. Yeah. Okay. Well, cool. Next one. This is a spec page, or sorry. Thank you. I appreciate it. I think this is one of those like very normal things that happens when you're working, and I think the longer you work, the more likely you are to come up like run into it. Most products are not very interesting, or not very special, or not actually that different, and so there is a sort of magic that you end up having to do as a copywriter, marketer, or whoever, where it's like, okay, how can we take this thing that's like functionally the same and probably like almost entirely the same and make it sound different. And it's hard work, and that's why I stress so much like the idea generation stuff, the thinking stuff, because it really just does come down to like, okay, well, how can you spin this? All right, so this is a product page for something. Importance of it. The audience knows the importance of ideas. They're struggling with coming up with ideas, looking for a method that ensures minimum success rate for ideas. Changes, the top has been rewritten. A few changes made the lead. Should I keep the ticks under in the heading complex? I appreciate some feedback on the bullets. Okay, cool, can do. Cross-pollination, a masterclass in idea generation. So immediately actionable, 3-step process to spark killer ideas and dominate any niche. Stand out from competitors, 10x sales, no PS. Never run out of ideas. Off the top, I could say you definitely can't say 10x sales because I don't know where that's coming from. Yeah, I can't promise that. As far as like the check marks go, not a huge fan. I like I sometimes I like the periods. So it's like stand out from competitors, 10x sales is like another fun way to set it up. So the one non-negotiable skill a marketer should have is the ability to come up with good ideas, but it can be challenging to come up with ideas that are different and relevant on demand. But what if the inspiration you need is already out there, hidden in plain sight? Cross-pollination is a system that helps you reverse engineer proven and transferable ideas from other niches and apply them to your own. Traditional idea generation methods are risky, with success uncertain until after launch. Cross-pollination lets you leverage proven ideas from other fields, lowering risk and eliminating guesswork. Never start from scratch again. Always build on successful blueprints to attract more leads, improve conversions, and increase sales. Join Alex as he unveils the exact method he uses to spark killer marketing ideas that you can use to grow any business. So by crafting a lead so unconventional that no one in the niche could have thought of, Alex was able to convert 50 high-ticket clients, each worth between $1,000 and $40,000. Make sure you're consistent on like this kind of thing. In one of his Copy That videos, Alex revealed his method for coming up with campaign ideas. You may not have realized it since Alex only subtly touched on it. Oh, okay, I see. So I'm going to skip these bullets. Okay. You should spend more time and money on things that already work, right? Wrong. It can be the biggest waste of marketing potential. Here's why. Mm, I'd appreciate if you could like say what it is. Is it spending more time and money, or is things that already work it? Piggyback off evolution, a sneaky way to hijack your reader's brain to sell better. Meh. I don't know what piggybacking off of evolution means. Like, oh, maybe it's like piggyback off of like, it's like the human brains evolution, or something like that. That makes more sense to me. Probably the phrasing could be better, but how not to fall into the everything trap. If you are feeling overwhelmed or spoiled for choice, this is how you can ground yourself. One thing in bullets, and this might be a personal preference of mine, but I strongly believe this, is that you don't want to bury the good stuff or like bury the benefits. So the sentence, if you are feeling overwhelmed or spoiled for choice, this is how you can ground yourself. To me, when I read that, there's like a primacy effect where the first thing you say in the sentence is the thing that I'm thinking about and holding in my mind as I read through the rest of it. And so the entire time I'm thinking, okay, well, if I'm feeling overwhelmed or spoiled for choice, that's the prime idea here, the prime thing you're communicating. Well, if this situation, okay, here's the thing you can do. However, I think the strong thing here is what you're answering is how to not fall into the trap. And so what you want to say is there's a thing you could do in this situation. And so you want to focus on the thing you can do. So it's something like, oops. The one thing you must do if you're feeling overwhelmed and spoiled for choice, right? Be irreplaceable to your clients. 3 huge client pain points you can solve with cross-pollination. I feel like you could like just generally make that stronger. Like if you said like solving these three huge client pain points will make you irreplaceable to your clients. I don't even think you need like the cross-pollination bit. 5 minutes of pure marketing gold, how you can reverse engineer any business's tactics to find new clients, sell to them, and find new things to sell to them. There's probably like a cleaner way of saying this. Leverage Alex's line of questioning to decide if an idea is worth following. This step ensures that you filter out bad ideas and only scoop out the hidden gems. I think leverage is like a very indirect word or soft word. I think you just lean into it, lean in, say steal, take. 6 real life examples of cross pollination for Alex's own career. I think you could just like delete this. You said like 6 real life examples of cross pollination guaranteed to spark your creativity and inspire new ideas. how Alex used an ingenious idea to turn a bland digital resource that no one cares about into a conversion-driving machine. From 10 high-ticket conversions per week to 200. If there's a better word than resource, I would use that. One fun thing you do is like that's a bland digital resource that no one cares about is kind of long, but it's also still kind of vague. One thing you do is just put something in quotes. So instead, say like how Alex used an ingenious idea to turn digital trash into a conversion driving machine. And it doesn't have to be this, but like this, like conceptually, this is way more evocative, way more interesting. 5 instantly actionable, no-brainer ideas you can implement today to improve any project. Tell me what improve means. Like, is it like gonna make my life easier? Is it gonna lead to better results? Just get specific. The single most important part of this masterclass, if you take away only one thing from the masterclass, let it be this. This is an interesting idea. I don't think it's executed well. I'd say you need to sort of at least gesture at what the takeaway is going to be, or like why it will be valuable. So I'd say like the single most important like takeaway of this masterclass. If you learn one thing about transforming businesses, one thing about increasing sales, learn the one thing about thing that the audience wants, let it be this. Cool. This is pretty good. Nice edits. Appreciate that. If you want to send a copy to review, we do that for our Patreon members over at patreon.com/copythatshow. So keep it up. Basically, if you sign up for Patreon, one of the benefits is that you get access to some special channels on our free Discord server where you can submit copy. And then in our weekly, sometimes bi-weekly streams, we will just go through and ask people, hey, like, what do you want? Or like, do you have any copy submit? And we will happily submit copy for you. You also get tons of other stuff like bonus streams, behind the scenes stuff, extended or uncut versions of videos. Yeah. I think we're pausing on this for now because one thing we found is that like people would just rewrite the same pages over and over and over. And while that was great when we needed a ton of copy for our website, it's also, one, we have a lot now, but two, it would be great for people to practice writing copy about things that aren't just our website. It's very incredibly limited range of products. So yeah, I think we're pausing on that for now. This next thing is from Radmore, who says, looking for someone to critique the header section of a product page from an app. I know in Alex's masterclasses about e-commerce and product pages, he advocates being clear and direct, but this client in particular wanted the description to have more of a voice. I tried to use Kyle Milligan's new Easy Safe Big schema for the bullets. The target is aspiring entrepreneurs who still have day jobs and don't have the time or money to run social media accounts, but think they need to for a successful business. Okay, cool. Talkmate. Oh, okay, cool. Very quick. So, Talkmate. Who can keep up with trends? Not us, not you, not anybody outside of a high school, but TalkMate can. It's an app that hunts down viral content to post on your TikTok account, helping you get more eyes on your business. Experience the first and only app with the power to post, remix, and schedule TikTok content all at once. Automate the research and content creation needed to go viral. Search millions of posts in seconds to find high traffic videos you can use now. Lead free traffic to your account without spending a penny on TikTok ads. Select plan. Okay. So this is pretty short. I think usually when I'm thinking of like product pages and like, let's see. Amazon laptop. So we're gonna click one of these pages. Like what you have is like certainly part of a product page. Maybe like not this. Amazon. Amazon eyeliner. Of course, there is like all of the tech stuff. Is there no description here? Holy shit. Okay, here we go. I expected a little bit more, but anyway, sorry. The point is that it's not just like a little blurb here. There's usually more context around it or some other areas to build. And so like you might have this initial blurb, but other areas on the page to kind of have real estate to write copy, basically. I guess make up pages to not do this. Anyway, what do I think about this copy? I think the voice definitely comes through. It's fun. It's lighthearted. It acknowledges that the person making it is probably not someone who is like super online in the way that most TikTok users are. It is very clear. Post schedule. Automate the research and content creation needs to go viral. Yeah, I mean, maybe you could have more bullets if there's other pain points you're going to run at. Lead free traffic. But everything you have here is like good, so it's hard to critique this. But like if you want to do like a larger build of this in the future, I'm happy to look at it again. Even if that's just like tagging the Discord. Yeah. Maybe that's a good note. Google says that not us might sound like it might sound like it's coming from the brand, and so then it sounds like, oh, we don't have time to keep up with stuff. Maybe there's an opportunity up here to be like, like who has time to keep up with all the online trends? You start with like, not you, not anybody outside of high school, certainly not anyone with a full time job. And that's your new build. The Talkmate can. Blah, 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 blah. That's a good shout. Rashid says, had to leave during your critique of the wilderness training. So just watched it, won't question it. Wouldn't it be onerous to read if I combine all of those fact sections into one long section? Struggle with that. It doesn't have to be, is how I'd frame that. Obviously, if you just have like big, huge paragraphs, then that could be a little bit clunky. If you break it out similar to what you did in like your intro section, which is like line, 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 you develop like a nice little cadence and flow going there. I think it is not. It also gives you like an opportunity to kind of like write more into those sections. And so maybe you have some interest there. Maybe there's other stuff that goes on there. These types of sales letters are often like 70 pages long. And so length is not an issue. It's when you have the length and it's not engaging. And so particularly given how like good your writing was from what I had seen already, like I would not be concerned with what would happen if you combine those sections and like even wrote more into them, because the writing was good. And I think just like another thing on that too is like we are often so afraid to write long because there is this fear, oh, we're going to lose clarity. Oh, people aren't going to pay attention. They're going to stop reading. But people will read novels that are 1,000-page long. People will scroll Reddit or other forums for hours a day. People will like watch 10 hours of TikTok. The time commitment is not a problem. Is the engagement is the thing that keeps people's attention and keeps them doing the thing. And so when you have the ability to write well, what that does is give you the privilege of also writing long. And so I think especially if you have good writing chops, in the correct time and place, do not be afraid of going on, especially in this genre of copy where it's very emotionally driven. If this were, I don't know, it's like some medical thing, it might be a little bit different. The ethics of like pushing people's pain points about, you know, their chronic pain and stuff is maybe a little different. But I think in this area, it's more than fine. And to me, it looks like you have the ability to do that well. So I'd say lean into it and see what happens. The worst case scenario, you try it, it doesn't work out, and you can go back to what you already have. So fight the good fight. The next and final one for today, 2.5 hours later. This is from Quinn. So this is a FAQ for baby mattresses. So I guess this is a task maybe. Write a persuasive fact section for an organic baby mattress addressing common customer concerns and overcoming objections. Unaware stage for this. Cool. So what are the problems with conventional mattresses? Conventional mattresses contain harmful chemicals that may cause hormone disruptors and irritants. In other words, dust mites easily accumulate on the conventional mattresses and may irritate delicate skin and cause breathing issues. Over the long term, respiratory irritation triggering asthma symptoms. Or maybe and over the long term. Our babies spend the whole day sleeping, or young children also spend 12 to 14 hours lying on their mattresses, which means they breathe in dusty air all over the time. I think there's some clunkiness here, but content-wise, it's fine. How do you protect your children from allergic rhinitis, asthma, and bronchitis. Um, okay. I think what I would say here is like, instead of how to, it's like, how do organic mattresses protect your child from these things? And then you say, 3 ways they help, or 3 ways organic mattresses protect children, blah, and then these 3 things. They eliminate accumulation of dust, oh, I see. I feel like the how to protect your children from these things is like a not really appropriate question. It's like how this whole thing is about mattresses. So it's like, how does the mattress do this? And so then I'd say 3 ways the mattresses do that. So it's like, if the material eliminates or prevents accumulation of dust, cool. But then these need to change. What should you look for? No. Organic wool, colored latex, and super percent. Just delete this. I think you mean unlikely. Just make sure when you go back, Google's pretty good at this. Just go through and like check these things, because it'll help clean up your grammar a lot. How much more expensive is organic mattress with your conventional interest? The other thing is, because they gave you a product, Nature Pedic, use the branded name in here, and so like, instead of saying organic mattresses, you could say like, how does the Nature Pedic mattress protect your child from that? Because if you just say organic mattresses, then it's like, well, why this one over a different brand's one? You want to be making sure that all your messaging is going towards selling for this specific product. So there's kind of a lost opportunity here to talk about the product that you're trying to sell. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, so a landing page is any page that traffic gets driven to. So, like, a landing page can be a sales letter. It could be a lot of things. It could be a squeeze page is a type of landing page. So what you were doing was you're building out this whole sales argument driving into, hey, buy this product. Here's all these bonuses. Like that is a sales page. That you are driving traffic to through some other stuff. And so like, it is also a landing page, but like the type of content it is a sales page. I don't have any offhand, but if you ping me later or just like catch Sean in Discord, he can link you to some really good survival copy, and like you can see how they are quite long often. Yeah. All right. Well, we are just hitting 2.5 hours, and I have no more coffee to critique. So, unless you guys have any more boring questions, I think that we can kind of call it there. Um, yeah. Okay. Well, in that case, thank you for coming to yet another Whetstone Wednesday. Or, no, sorry, Whetstone Friday. It is Friday. It's a ton of fun. It's always nice to like go through your guys' copy and see and see how much it's improved and kind of what you're working on, and give that value back. If you would like to have your copy reviewed on a future Whetstone Wednesday or Whetstone Friday stream, um, feel free to sign up over at patreon.com/the copy that show. It helps us a ton. Um, we have so much free content on YouTube, and we're only able to do that because of our lovely Patreon subscribers and people who buy the products. And so it helps us continue to make great content for free for everybody else. We also have tons of like super valuable things in there, like most of our master classes and access to these critiques and lovely Discord channels with like super secret conversations. And also it's just like nice. So feel free to sign up. If you don't, it's also great. We still love you. You're still a good person. And you do not need to sign up to our Patreon to start a career, to start making money as a copywriter. So it really is just one of those, like, if you want those additional resources kinds of things. No hard feelings if not. You're lovely. And yeah, thanks to everyone who submitted copy. It's always like getting critiques is not always easy, but also having them go public is not always the easiest either. So, big shout out to everybody who submitted copy this week. Yeah, have a great weekend, everyone, and go out there. I hope all your dreams come true. Bye.